All right, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Browns Beat podcast. I am sadly one half of your co-hosts of the Browns Beat podcast, and it's not because I am not happy to be here. It is because I am not happy to talk about the Browns, which makes up half of the whole podcast title, by the way. Derek, this was... It's undescribable in just a sentence. It's impossible for me to talk about this game without going into a very, very long rant, which I know you and I both are going to be full of that today. So in case you guys didn't hear me, or in case I didn't say it, I can't remember because my rage is just completely covering my brain right now. The Cleveland Browns lost 34-13 against the Washington Commanders. Derek, I'm going to let you go first, Derek. What were your thoughts on this football game? What are your thoughts on the Cleveland Browns?
Well, my thoughts are, how did we get here? I mean, the answer, I feel, is very clear and obvious how we got here, and we'll talk about that man shortly. But all I want to say is this. This is how I want to start. Everybody at home, everybody who's going to watch this, you do not deserve this at all. We've gone through absolute hell. Absolute hell, torture, and embarrassment as a fan base, as a team. And the fact that we are here at 1-4, your offense, I'm not even gonna start into that, because I'm ready to just rip every part of this team to shreds. Like, I am to that point. But what I will say, as far as general thoughts, is if you are a Browns fan, if you are a Cleveland Browns fan, and you watch what was put on the field today, and you have anything positive to say, whether if that be quarterback, offense, defense, if you have any positive outlook on this team's future at the moment, you are delusional and you need to check yourself, because what we saw today was a historic failure from every perspective of this team, other than special teams. Because I'll start it off right off the bat. Corey Bojorquez is the best player on this team right now. And that's hilarious. But it's the truth. General thoughts is how we really wanted to start this before we rip into everybody. My general thoughts is, if you're a Browns fan, we can't stand for this. We can't. And don't ask me how we're not going to, because here's the deal. We're Browns fans. We showed up through 0-16. We showed up through 1-15. We're going to keep showing up. But a fan base that is very passionate, very vocal, and very invested and caring, regardless of what this team looks like, we got to up the ante. We got to up the pressure. And we got to vocalize that this is not acceptable. And it's... I just can't believe, Tristan, that after everything that has happened with this franchise in the last decade, and in recent years, we've come to hope, we've come to success, we've come to a winning football team. And I know there's a lot of people who say, no, we're not. Yes, we were. We were a winning football team. That should be the standard. And the fact that we're at where we're at is beyond me. So I'm not going to rip anybody just yet. I'm going to go over to you, Tristan. This is flat out bullshit. There's no other way to say it. Like, this is flat out bullshit from everybody.
Yeah, honestly, the only reason why I even laugh or smile at you saying that is because it hurts too much to actually, show a different face. Derek, I know I'm supposed to go over, just a basic overview of this game. But honestly, that game after the first quarter, after the second quarter, was worthless. It was worthless, and we'll talk about that. We will talk about how it became worthless and why it was worthless and such like that. But there's a bigger overarching topic that we need to delve into. This is it. This is it for Deshaun. I have been as patient as I possibly could have with him. I last week gave him all the credit in the world for that game, even though we lost, because I thought he had a good performance. I thought that it was his best performance as a Cleveland Brown. And I felt like even though there was all these things going on around him, we can't blame that game on him. And I still feel that way. But Derek, here's the thing that after this game, I was emotionless. I really was. I didn't even know, I almost didn't care, which is such a damning feeling to have after your team gets their absolute ass whooped by a rookie, albeit a really good rookie at that, a guy who's putting up historic numbers. Hats off to him. Hats off to Washington. It looks like they've got a good one. So congratulations. That's awesome. But Derek, after this game, I wanted to isolate myself away from Twitter, from YouTube, from other people's voices. I wanted to figure out what I felt about this football team. And quite frankly, Derek, the one thing that happened was that the longer I thought about this team, the angrier I got, the more full of rage I became. The goal of me being a Browns fan, why I became a Browns fan, was because it was something for me to bond with my family over. And it got me really great friends. I got you out of it, Derek. I've got Cozy. I've got Tony. I've got a lot of great friends that came out of it.
I wouldn't say great. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
But regardless, and especially with my family, it's something that, no matter what, it's something that gives us an excuse to always talk to each other and always connect with each other and check in on each other. And Derek, the one thing I want more than anything in the world at this moment in time, in my life, I'm sure that, my priorities in life are going to change. At some point in my life, I want to have the privilege of being able to be around my closest friends and family and celebrating a Cleveland Browns Super Bowl victory. I crave that every single day. It's what I want it so bad. I want to share that moment with these people and that I love, my friends, all these other Browns fans who've endured the same pain that we've endured. Everybody deserves that. Everybody deserves that. And as I kept on thinking about Deshaun Watson, what he's been in his time here, what this team has been in this time here, I've come to the realization that, everything that's going on the offensive side of the ball, it's not all his fault. This offensive line's terrible. His receivers are dropping the ball left and right. There's almost a non-existent running game. There's a lot of stuff that's going on behind and around Deshaun Watson that's making it so that way. He's not a great quarterback. He's not being helped by his team. But Derek, you can't win a Super Bowl with a quarterback that can't overcome adversity. You can't. You can't do it. And this guy can't. He can't. He's not good enough to do that. We are not going to win a Super Bowl with Deshaun Watson. And if we're not going to win a Super Bowl with Deshaun Watson, why the hell is he here? Why the hell is he starting? Why are we redesigning an offense, reinventing an offense that just does not work? Why? Why are we doing this for a guy that it's just not going to happen with? He has not, in his entire time here in Cleveland, proven that he's an elite quarterback. So why the hell should we continue to just stay the course? when he hasn't given us anything. What, a second half against the Ravens, a game that wasn't even that great against the Tennessee Titans, who at that time were not a good football team. And then last week, where we lost, that's the best we're going to get from this guy? Like, that's the best we've gotten from him there. And so this is where I've gotten to, right? The patience has just completely worn and it's turned into anger because we sacrifice so much of this team's future for this guy. Yep. We, as Browns fans, have taken a lot of abuse online from other fan bases, and I don't want to say rightfully so, but I can understand why other fans were upset that the Browns made that move for him. Absolutely. And I can understand why Browns fans were upset that we made that move for him. Hell, I was upset that we made that move for him. I was excited for the talent, but everything that came along with it has been a nightmare. We have been living a nightmare ever since he has arrived in Cleveland, and our only escape was off the shoulders of 42-year-old Joe Flacco, who, with the Indianapolis Colts today, had more yards in today's game than 3 of Deshaun Watson's games in Cleveland this year combined.
Yep.
Derek, it's over. It's over. Whatever you think of Deshaun Watson, whatever I don't care if you love him, if you hate him, whatever, it's over. It's over. At this point in time, I get it. Listen, it's not all Deshaun Watson's fault. I get that. And that's part of the reason why I've been holding out the hope so far this far into the season was because, hey, you know what? It's not his fault. He's got a terrible offensive line, no run game, his receivers dropping the ball, whatever. He's got to be able to overcome some of this stuff. And he's overcoming none of it. We're a losing football team. We're a terrible football team. Forget losing football team. We're a terrible football team. We've got tied for the worst record in the NFL.
Yeah.
I've gotten to the point now where, again, I'm going to reiterate it. My patience has run out with the guy, and he's not going to be good enough. And you know what? Is Jameis Winston or DTR going to turn us into a good football team? Honestly, probably not. But the thing is, I get to say probably. To say probably. There's still the chance. And you know what, Derek? Quite frankly, the best this football team has looked over the past 3 years has been without Deshaun Watson as a starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. And that's an undeniable truth. An undeniable truth. I know he was 5-1 last year, but don't you dare tell me that this team was better with Deshaun Watson. That is not the truth. You can look at efficiency stats. You can look at whatever the hell you want to. This football team was a better football team with Joe Flacco as the quarterback. It ended in flames, but you know what? It was a chaos that he stepped into anyway. Right? So I can't help but look at this situation and say, you know what? We got to make the move because it's the last bullet in the chamber. I'm almost ready to give up on the season. I know a lot of people are. I know you probably are. Most people probably are because it's the rational thing. We haven't seen anything worth saying that this season is salvageable at this point. But we still have that one bullet. That's the last bullet we have. We won't know for sure, definitively, what the season will be until we pull the trigger. And Derek, it's time to pull the trigger.
Oh boy. I'm gonna try to do this in the most professional manner that I can. Here's the deal. Ever since I started doing football related content, talking, I've always stayed raw. Right? Just flat out tell you my opinion. I gotta take my time with this because I could really rip. And the problem is here we go again. The Baker Wars started so much, between people. And the problem is there's people who defend Watson that I like, that I think are good people. And I really don't want them to feel that I'm attacking them. I'm not. So, Deshaun Watson sucks. That's an obvious. This has been dead for a long time. Deshaun Watson, without a shadow of a doubt, is not the future of this football team. And if you believe that Deshaun Watson is the future of this football team, then I don't respect any opinion you have that's football related. Because if you can watch what we have seen put on the field for the last how many games that he's played, the 12 games previously, and then what he's played this season, if you view that as this team's future, then you want to suck. Because what we have right now is an utter, complete failure. Deshaun Watson today, 15 of 28, 125 yards, threw a touchdown. Okay. And I will give him credit. That was a nice throw. But, Tristan, please explain to me, and this is a rhetorical question because the answer is obvious, but please explain to me how in the blue hell our leading receivers are Amari Cooper, 4 receptions, 60 yards. Okay. That's reasonable. And then it's Jordan Akins, Deontay Foreman. Can we somebody explain that to me? Explain to me how the most expensive fucking offense in the NFL has nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I'm telling you right now, I've come to the point where I don't care who goes. I really don't. I like Andrew Berry. I like Kevin Stefanski. I have a lot more trust in those guys than I do Deshaun Watson, but I don't care. I don't care anymore. And the biggest thing is, Tristan, we have to find out where this blame lies. We have to find out, is Kevin Stefanski a terrible coach, or is Deshaun Watson a terrible quarterback? And the only way we're going to find that out is if we sit his ass on the bench and put somebody else out there. It's not going to be perfect. No one's saying this is going to get turned around. It can't. The season's dead. We are 5 games in now, and this season is absolutely dead. And I understand you haven't played a single divisional game yet. Whatever. I don't care. I really don't care if the Browns sweep the Steelers, sweep the Ravens, sweep the Bengals. I don't care. I know what we see here. And when you look at this team right now, we are 1 of 13 on third down today, Tristan. You win football games by sustaining drives. And if you are 1 of 13 on third down, what the hell are you going to do? We're averaging 3.8 yards per play, which is the worst in the National Football League since 2018. 2018. And I'll say this, right? I will fully admit and confess, I would have traded for Deshaun Watson. I would have made this trade. But the reality is, we traded for Timu Deshaun Watson. This is not the real thing. This is a fake ripoff of what we thought we were going to get. I don't know if you've ever bought in fake Beats or fake shoes before. They might look similar. They're not the same thing. That's for damn sure. The Deshaun Watson that we have right now is not even decent. He's not even comparable. Is that a word? No, I don't know. Comparable to a competent quarterback in the National Football League. Like, what we are getting right now is so beyond a disaster that it's not even funny, Tristan. And for everybody who's like, oh, well, you got to ride it out. You got to ride it out. No, we don't. No, we don't. And I don't care how we have to do it. I don't care if Deshaun Watson gets suspended. I don't care if we have to pay out the remainder of the contract. I don't care. He cannot be here anymore. This has failed. This has failed completely. And I understand. Sometimes you tie yourself to stuff that you think's going to work out and it just doesn't. Okay, great. The only way you're going to get better is to move on. That's the only way. The Denver Broncos traded for Russell Wilson. That failed. It was an utter failure. And I would argue that it went better than the Deshaun Watson trade. Right? Is Denver great now? No. But guess what? They recognized their failure. They took a chance. They got Bo Nix. I don't like Bo Nix. But you know what? Respect to him for doing it. We have put ourselves in a spot where there's going to be consequences for this, whatever way you want to put it. There's going to be consequences. Whether if that's people getting fired, whether if that's having no cap, whether if that's just trade, whatever. There's going to be consequences. But you can no longer hitch your wagon to a dead horse. And we are trying to bring back to life a horse that's dead, been dead, and will never be alive again. And the fact that there are people out there who are still just dead set on defending every damn thing the man does drives me crazy. I would have made the trade. In hindsight, obviously not. But I don't blame the Browns for making the trade. What I blame the Browns for right now is for this bullshit that we're seeing weekly. This is not acceptable, and we cannot act as if this is okay. This is not. This is the most expensive offense in the National Football League. You have spent the last 4 years rebuilding and taking what you got from the 0-16, 1-15 teams, Tristan, to put this team in a better spot, to rebuild for the future. And this is what we have. We are quite literally right back in the same spot. The 1-15 season, we averaged 16.5 points per game. That's 1-16. 0-16, or 1-15. 0-16, 14.625 points per game, Tristan. Guess what it is this year? 2024, 14.4. The most expensive offense in the National Football League is scoring like the 0-16, 1-15 Cleveland Browns. That is where we're at. That's where we're at. And it's not all on Deshaun Watson. It's not. But the fact that you sit here, not you, but the Browns, sit here and view Deshaun Watson as, oh, we got to keep trying. We got to keep trying. No. You got sold a lemon. It's fool's gold. It's not going to work. Why would you keep driving a car that you spent a lot of money on if it breaks down on you weekly, daily? You don't do it. And that's what we're doing right now. Kevin Stefanski came out and said, we're not making a change at quarterback. Can you explain to me why we're even saying that? The game just ended. And I understand, like, I get it. Like, you're getting asked tough questions, but, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And I could rant forever, so I'm going to shut up. But I want to end with this. Deshaun Watson is averaging a negative .30 EPA per drop back, lowest in weeks 1 through 5 since 2000 as far as Browns quarterbacks. You remember that jersey with every name on it, and everybody clowns us, and every time we play in prime time, they talk about, oh, the Browns have had 80 billion quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson is the lowest since 2000. Think about how many names are on that jersey since 2000. And think about how Deshaun Watson is the lowest on that list. Oh, and by the way, you know who's second lowest? Deshaun Watson last year. Last year. So please explain to me how we can hold on to hope, keep trying to make this work. It doesn't work. Sometimes things just don't work. That's the reality. Things just don't work. You can't try to make it work. It's just not going to work. And in those situations, you have to look yourself in the mirror. And you have to recognize it. And listen, if you don't cut bait, guess what? You're going to pay the price. You're going to pay the price. And that price is going to be this team's future for the next decade. Sorry. You want to waste another 4 years? How much does Deshaun have left? 3-4 years on his contract?
After this year, it's 2 more.
Okay, so 3 years counting this year.
Yeah.
All right, let's ride that out. Who's staying? Who's staying on this team?
No one.
Yeah, nobody. Because who's going to want to be here?
No one.
No one. I'm flat out sick and tired of it. I am flat out done because I've been saying, Tristan, I've been saying it week after week after week after week after fucking week. This is done. It's over. Deshaun Watson is cooked. He is cooked. And sure, there's a portion of the fan base that knew that. But if us as a fan base look at this and still think there's something there, you're delusional. You're flat out delusional. You have to cut bait. You have to. Doesn't matter how you do it. Doesn't matter if it's the NFL. Doesn't matter if it's the Browns. Doesn't matter how you get to that point. But you can no longer tie yourself to this dead horse. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. And Tristan, I swear to you, I'm going to tell you this right now. And we're going to look back at this moment. If the Cleveland Browns are on the clock in the 2025 NFL draft and that name is not a quarterback, boy, oh boy. My water just fell. But I'm going to lose it. I am going to absolutely lose it like I've never lost it in my life. Because the thing about this team, Tristan, we have talent. After all this, after everything we've been through, there are still pieces on this team. I firmly believe that. And if you're going to waste having a top draft pick on a skill position, on an offensive lineman, on a defensive player, okay, I understand it. That person might be great. But the most important position in football is the quarterback position. And we don't have it. All right, I'm letting you take it because I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I think the other thing, the most damning part of this all is, Derek, there's just no connection to the team. Like, I don't know if you feel the same way that I do. I don't know if everybody else is feeling the same way that I do. For me, this is the least connected I have been to a team since 0-16. The least connected I felt. I don't recognize this team. I don't I don't want to say I don't affiliate with this team, but like there's no connection. There's no just I feel like I have a difficult time loving this football team. Like I don't have pride in this football team. Like, and I'll be honest, Eric, it's associated to the QB. Mm-hmm. It's associated to that QB because when he hasn't been in, I have felt a closeness with this team. I felt it with Joe Flacco. I will forever remember for the rest of my life that game that you and I were at, Thursday Night Football against the New York Jets. We whooped their ass and we made it to the playoffs after all of the injuries that we had. The terrible conditions that we had to go through that last year, and being able to persevere through that was so special to be there for that moment. And even when we had Jacoby Brissett I still felt something with this team, because even though the defense was terrible, it was terrible under Joe Woods, that offense was inspiring. It was inspiring. It was efficient. It wasn't the best in the league. Hell no, it wasn't. But it was a middle of the pack offense, and it did not have the quarterback, to justify it. It didn't. And we still were solid. It's just that defense dragged us down, right? And then when Deshaun comes in later that year, and it was the worst that team had looked the entire season, especially on the offensive side of the ball. The following year, I get it, we went 5-1 with him. It was we limped over the finish line every single time. Mm-hmm. Every single time, besides Tennessee. And listen, Baltimore, that was the only time I felt a connection with him, and then he got hurt. So, that's the most damning part of this all for me. It's just that there's no connection there. There's no pride there. Mm-hmm. The only thing I'll say to what you were saying about this draft, we have to draft a quarterback. I agree 100%. Quarterback has to be a move, whether it's bringing in someone. in free agency trade, whatever, that is a starter in this league, that is a starter who can have potential, whether you do something crazy and end up trading for Michael Penix, or maybe you feel like signing Sam Darnold to a bridge deal will be something interesting, whatever, right? You know, you got to do something. You got to do something. Now, I'm with you, Derek. I agree. The best route to go down is drafting a quarterback. 100%. But the other thing that we have to consider, Derek, it was something that we talked about in the preseason. We said that of all of the backup quarterbacks, DTR had the highest potential, and we didn't want to let him go because we felt like there was something there. Now, I am not suggesting next year DTR should be our starting quarterback. Hell no. But this is why we have to pull the trigger now. I would put in DTR right now. Because from here to the end of the season is his test. If you're good enough and you can be the starting quarterback of this football team, you got, this was game 5, you got 12 games to prove it. 12 games to prove it. Prove in 12 games that you can be that guy. And I'm a huge fan of Jameis Winston. I think he's a great personality to have in the locker room and everything like that. But there's no future with Jameis. You know, if you're putting in Jameis, it's because you feel like you can win now. And I'm sorry, but we can't. We can't. The team is not good enough. This offensive line in the offseason needs a complete rebuild. Amari Cooper's not going to be here next year. I'm almost 100% certain of it. We have to have a new receiver added to the room. 100%. Who knows what's going to happen with Nick Chubb? But regardless of what happens to Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford is not going to be your starter next year. You can't have that happen. And Deontay Foreman, I think he had a solid day today, but he hasn't shown enough that you can rely on him either. So we got to have change. Mm-hmm. We have to have change, and we have to be able to we just have to find something to cheer for, to root for. What do we have to cheer for, Derek? What do we have to root for? What, an underachieving defense? Absolute travesty of an offense? A historically terrible offense that, again, most expensive offense in the NFL. You've said it. And it's the worst offense in the NFL. This quarterback, we can't root for him because we know who he is off the field. I don't care I don't care what people say if they believe that those women were lying. No. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop there because I'm gonna get this into an area where I don't want it to get to for a football podcast. At least not right now. It's got to change. Something has got to change. Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry, Paul T. Podesta, Jimmy Haslam, give us something to cheer for. Give us something to root for. Because right now, this football team has nothing. Mm-hmm. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The only player, there may be two that I feel like I can really root for right now, is Denzel Ward and this guy, JOK. That's it. Because they're the only ones that time in and time out are showing up. Really. I mean, JOK had one terrible game so far this year. Outside of that, he's been pretty damn good. He's the only reason why this football game, they didn't put up 50 points. Seriously. I seriously mean that. I'm just so fed up with this, man. Give us something to cheer for.
If there's one thing that I hate, it's wasting time. And as long as Deshaun Watson is starting quarterback for the Browns, we're just wasting time. And here's
he's 29 years old, Derek.
He's 29 years old. He's regressing every game, and there's no future. Like, there's absolutely zero future with Deshaun Watson as quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, or, for that matter, quarterback in the National Football League. Like, he's done with football for multiple reasons, but as a player, like, he's done. And you're wasting my time. You're wasting my time with this. It's done. It's over. It didn't work. It failed. It was a colossal failure, monumental failure. Okay, how do we recover from that? And Tristan, the one thing, and I hate to even bring this up, but the one thing, that you mentioned there is this team is dead. There's no energy. There's no effort. There's no life in this team. You know what brought this team to life back in 2018, 2019, whenever that was? It was the moment that Tyrod Taylor, and sorry, but it's the moment that Tyrod Taylor went down on that field, and number 6 came in on a Thursday night in Cleveland against the Jets and brought some life, brought some energy to this football team. And I don't say that to say that Baker Mayfield is the guy, because Baker Mayfield failed here in Cleveland too. Baker Mayfield was a failure. He was a bridge quarterback, and Baker had to go through everything that he went through to be the level of successful that he is now. And I'm very happy and very proud of him, that he was able to find himself in this league. Because people forget, he was one bad year away from being on College game day. And now he's balling, absolutely balling. So I don't say that to say that Baker Mayfield is the guy. But what I'm telling you is this team needs a desperate shot of life into this football team. And Tristan, we have no rookie quarterback on the roster to give us hope for the future. And yes, maybe DTR, who knows? He's kind of an unknown still. But what I'm telling you is, in order to find out what we have, because we're at the point where this is going to get torn to shreds. This is going to be the most interesting off season for the Browns in a long time, because there's going to be so much change. There could be coaching changes. There could be general manager changes, quarterback changes, offensive line changes, defensive changes. There's going to be changes in this team so much. And the point that we're at is what stays. What stays? What is going to be the heart and soul and the foundation of this team? And Tristan, you're not going to be able to find that out with somebody that the team is not willing to play around. And I look at Kevin Stefanski and I blame him. I think this team has given up on him. I think he's lost the team. And you can blame Deshaun Watson for that, but Kevin Stefanski is the head coach. Like, you got to find a way. And in order for this team to find out what we have, it's going to have to come on the back of Jameis Winston or Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And the fact that as an organization, we have backed Deshaun Watson again to go play in Philadelphia and get murdered and slaughtered and embarrassed is a joke. It's a joke. And what pisses me off is the forbidden topic of what we gave up to make this trade happen. It's the team's future. You gave up the team's future to make this happen. Cap space wise, draft capital wise, and that's a forbidden topic. We're not allowed to talk about it, because if you talk about that, then why don't you talk about the Eagles with Jalen Hurts and the Jags with Trevor Lawrence and the Dolphins with Tua? Yes, I understand all those things. That can be true as well. Teams can pay their guys and it not be great. That's a fact. But as long as you keep throwing your fours up and your stupid clocks in your bios, it doesn't mean shit. Doesn't mean shit. Defend a guy all you want. You can't defend it forever. And we need real change on this team. We need real change. We need changes on the offensive line. We need changes in the coaching staff. We need change at quarterback. We need changes on the defense. This team needs a lot of change. And the problem is we are 5 weeks into a 17-game season, and we have no life. No life at all. I don't even want Chubb to play. I don't want Chubb to play. I don't want him to get hurt. I don't want him to risk his career. I don't want that. But he's going to, because he's Nick Chubb and he's that dude. And we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But I would feel much better, Tristan, if we have a Nick Chubb coming back and a Jack Conklin coming back with Jameis Winston or DTR under center. Because at least then the team will have something to believe in. Nobody believes in Deshaun Watson. You look at that, you look at the body language of everybody on the field today, they don't want to be there. Deshaun Watson's not the guy. He's not a leader. He's just not. He's not the future. And you can't fit a square into a round hole. Can't do it. Can't do it.
Yeah. With that being said, after 40 minutes of recording, let's move on to the second topic of today. Oh man, this is brutal. Honestly, we didn't even have a structure for this show. I'll be honest with all of you guys. We knew what we wanted to talk about. It was that. Real quick.
I'll say this. I'll say this
Yeah,
before we go.
Go ahead.
People who know me know that I get really heated about stuff like this. Tristan, you mentioned it earlier. I can't. I can't. I do not care. I do not care. Because I have lowered my expectations so much. And I'm actually pissed at myself. Because I told my coworker, I'm going to put money on Washington to not just win, but to cover an alternate spread of a lot more than what it is. Because that's what I'm expecting. And I didn't, because I thought, well, this is the typical Browns thing to do. When we should get slaughtered by the hottest team in football, we'll find a way to win it. And I didn't do it. And guess what? We got slaughtered. So, at least I was going to be able to be like, you know what? We got murdered, but I made money. So, hey, I didn't do that. But I don't have a care in the world. Like, I literally would love nothing more. Not in life right now, but just when it comes to being a fan of this team. I wish I could go in a coma and wake up in April when we're talking about the draft and we're talking about free agency and we're talking about what this is going to look like for the future. Right now, don't care. I don't care. The Browns have the number 1 pick right now. Number 1 or number 2, right? We're tied for the worst team in football.
We're up there, that's for sure. I mean,
but yeah, my whole point in saying that is like what you said, emotionless. I don't care. And I have been very optimistic. I'm optimistic until I'm not, right? With Baker, defended it until I couldn't anymore, and I saw the writing on the wall. Deshaun Watson, a little bit less of defending, but more so of optimistic in the team. The writing's on the wall with this team. And I've been told time and time and time and time again from a lot of Browns fans, Tristan, Myles Garrett's going to request a trade. He's not going to want to be here. Denzel Ward's going to request a trade. He doesn't want to be here. All of these guys. And I'm like, no, that's stupid. And now I sit here today and I think to myself, would I even blame them? Would I be mad? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. And when the dust settles, where's this team going to be at? I have no idea. I have no idea. Because I don't know about you. I have no confidence in the leadership of this team right now. I have no confidence in Barry. I have no confidence in Stefanski. I have no confidence in any of the decision making right now. But I think there's always a way that it works out. There's always a way that it works out. Sometimes it doesn't look like there's a way, and then there's a way. That's the only thing I'm holding on hope to. We have a first-round pick. We have a first-round pick. At least we're not losing for nothing. You know?
true.
I'm sorry. You gotta go. I'm gonna.
No. I mean, listen, that's a valid point because, you know, if we keep on losing and we end up being one of the top picks in the draft, yeah, we'll have a great selection of quarterbacks to pick from. But it's just this was not how the year was supposed to be. It was not. I mean, hell, I was the most conservative out of both of us on this panel, and I predicted 11 wins. I predicted 11 wins.
We'll
Derek.
be lucky to get to 5.
Exactly. Lucky to get to 5. It's embarrassing.
And I'll tell you this, Bengals fans, you're going to be the only ones that we beat because we somehow find a way to beat your ass every year. And that'll be the game. Hey, we might not sweep you, but we'll get one game. Hey, we'll get one.
Hey, they're 1-4 too. I don't know what you're talking about. They're in the same department as we are. Yeah. Oh, damn. Let's move on. Let's just while we're talking about the quarterback, let's just get through the offense. Just lifeless.
Bill Howard had a great day on Saturday. That's the offense I want to talk about.
Right. Honestly, like, we might be better off with the Ohio State offense. We really might.
Yeah.
We might.
Chip Kelly's run scheme. Yeah.
Oh man.
Go Guards. Hey.
Go Guards.
Let's go win.
Honestly, that's the only offense I want to talk about. You want to talk about the first inning in game 1? Because I'd love to talk about the first inning in game 1.
Go ahead, dude.
What a start. What a start. No, I'm kidding. I can't.
I don't care anymore.
I don't
care anymore.
Sadly, I do, but it's like I really wish I didn't.
Yeah, I get it.
Let's talk about the offense. Offensive line, you guessed it, absolutely terrible.
7 sacks, 20 pressures.
I didn't realize it was. Wow, hearing those stats, it's even worse than I thought. Holy crap.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I knew it was bad. 7 sacks, 20 pressures.
Y'all thought I was making a joke when I said we need Conklin back like a blind guy needs a stick. I'm not joking. You want to talk about blind? This offense is blind. Deshaun Watson's blind. Kevin Stefanski's blind. Like, I
hear you. This offensive line is absolutely pitiful. And like, it's gotten to the point now where, like, when we drop back to pass, Derek, there is no pocket. There is no pocket. The middle of the line just gets pushed right back into the quarterback. There is no pocket. None whatsoever. We are getting absolutely dominated on the offensive line. And it's been the thing that we've hung our hat on for so many years. And you know what? It's too old now, and we you know, we're just unable to keep up the performances that we needed from those guys. But yeah, it's going to have to be absolutely torn apart in the offseason. I'm not kidding, Derek. We might need 4, 5 new starters. I'm dead serious. Like, Jed Wills, I know damn well he's not coming back. He cannot come back. Joel Bitonio, I just don't see how he doesn't hang up the cleats at this point. When I'm watching him play, this has got to be his last year. Posich, terrible. I did not like that contract that we signed him to. And I feel more and more justified every day for not liking it. Wyatt Teller, with the run, like for the run, he's great. But pass protection, terrible. Terrible in pass protection. And then we got DeJuan Jones, who, I mean, Derek, he might do better. No, I'm not going to say that. You know what? He's terrible.
There's one word to describe DeJuan Jones: fat.
You know what? I can't say this because I am a fat guy. He might do better if his weight was divided by 2. Like, that's how bad this guy is doing. Guys are just walking around him, Derek. Like, and it's not even just Brian Burns anymore. Like Brian Burns, yeah, one of the quickest edge rushers in the league. Just average guys. Average guys are dog walking this guy, embarrassing him, and he has become everything that we feared he would be. Yeah. Receivers, again, too many drops, too many miscommunications with the quarterback. And just, again, nothing from those guys. Jerry Jeudy dropped a touchdown inexplicably, and he's been our best receiver up to this point this year. But absolute ghost town from him today. Amari Cooper, just like, they're trying to get him involved, but it's just not working. It's not working. Maybe a change of quarterback changes things, but I don't know. It's not working, and it won't work. I don't think it will. David Njoku had the first play of the game go to him, and then nothing the rest of the game.
You want to hear his stat line?
I already know he had one reception on 3 targets for like 11 yards.
One reception, 16 yards. The same
16 yards. Oh, okay.
As Hall of Fame legendary caliber receiver Deontay Foreman, who also had the same stat line.
How David Njoku only gets 3 targets in a football game when inexplicable.
I want right now, this is what I want. I want to see, in this debate, this has always been talked about. I want to see it. I want it to be real. But a lot of people say, put Alabama against the Browns in their prime. Put Ohio State against the Browns in their prime. No. You know what I want to see? I want to see 2 poverty teams right now. I want to see the Michigan Wolverines, who lost to Washington, and I want to see the Browns. I want to see it. I want to see it. Because I can tell you, Tristan, in that game, you know what's going to happen?
No scoring.
Alex Orji is going to rush for a good 60 yards and about 2 touchdowns. DeJuan Jones is going to give up 8 sacks to a college kid. I mean...
Yeah, no. I mean, honestly, I was thinking you were going to say the final score is going to be 2-0, whichever defense can find a way to get a safety.
Oh, speaking of, something we should probably talk about. The guy who got a safety in the Jacksonville game, he's out for the season.
Oh, yeah, Alex Wright.
Nice.
Yeah, he's done for the year. Yeah, man. Just I don't have anything else to say about this offense. I mean, the running backs are just, they're nothing. They're nothing. I hate to say it. They're nothing. They're nothing. There's nothing remarkable to say about them. Nothing. So I mean, that's all from me. You got any comments on the offense before we move to the defense? Because
this offense, I mean, the phrase, "Oh, I've seen JV offenses better." I've seen, a lot of times that's a very stupid thing to say. I think it's real. Like, I really don't know. Let's talk about the defense. Which they suck too. How in the world can it... All
right, here's what I'll say. The one thing I will say in defense of the defense. They started the game really, really well.
Yeah.
They started it really, really well. The first series, 3 and out. The second series, they got to a 3rd and 13. And then looking back on it, to me it looked like it was Grant Delpit's fault because he went inside and he should have went outside to keep the quarterback inside. But Jaden Daniels finds a way to get out of the pocket, and Terry McLaurin improvised a route and just got a big play. Fair enough. And then JOK came up with a big play. Made a big play. But the thing is that as the game went on, they just got worse and worse and worse and worse until Washington took out their starters. I mean, Derek, I started Jaden Daniels, Brian Robinson, and Zach Ertz in fantasy football this week. I thought they were going to have career days for fantasy until they got pulled. So it's just like, yeah. Let's talk about it. The run game, the screen game, we just don't have an answer for it right now, which just a damning thing considering how last year, like, those things those things just didn't faze us last year. Part of me thinks it's gonna be partially on Sione Takitaki. Devin Bush did not have a good game today. Corners, I mean, MJ Emerson got absolutely cooked by somebody who I never knew was an NFL player until today. D-line, we would get pressure, and then Jaden Daniels would simply just jog around them. That was it. It looked effortless for him today. Really, it did. After the first few series, like after the first quarter, it was effortless for that guy. Like, we gave him a good tough quarter of football, Derek. And then just collapsed. And you know what? Part of me says, you know what? Don't blame the defense. Because if you were putting your body on the line for this football team and you had to watch that disgrace of an offense on the field, maybe it would ruin your morale a bit. But you know what? Maybe that's just too much to ask for. Oh, wait, no, it's not, because Mike Tomlin's in our division, and he gets that shit from his defense every year, no matter how terrible his offense is. I'm trying to find anything else to talk about on this defense, and I don't have anything. I'm done with the defense. That's it.
They got turnovers, and that's what drives me crazy the most. All day today, I was like, "Oh, look, another turnover. We're not gonna do anything with it."
We got 3 points off of turnovers, Derek.
And
2 turnovers.
No, more
2.
than that.
Huh?
There's more turnovers than that, weren't there?
There was the JOK interception. No, we didn't get 4 turnovers. It was the JOK interception and the JOK forced fumble. Which, by the way, the forced fumble got us into the red zone. Mm-hmm. Like, and that 4th down. My God. Oh. All right. Who's the jackass, okay, that doesn't know how to count? Who's the jackass that doesn't know how to count on the Browns sideline? Who? Because I see Deshaun Watson in the huddle looking at Kevin Stefanski because the mic's cut off, right? After a certain time on the play clock, the mic's cut off. So he's got to actually talk to him on the sideline. And I see Amari Cooper taking a fucking head count like an elementary school teacher, going on a fucking field trip or going to fucking walking the kids to the lunchroom. Like it's 4th and goal. 4th and goal from the 8. You got a chance to get back in the football game, and you can't even get a fucking snap. You can't even get a snap. The quarterback just walked right off the field because we don't know how to fucking count. Oh, shit. My screen went dark. Oh, there we go. We're good.
You were good for me.
All right. Well, my screen went dark here because, all right, I know my limits now. But we don't know how to count, Derek. We don't know how to count.
I can count. Ready? 1. That's what you are. No, but 4 is up, right? 4 is up.
Oh, man. Like, I don't know, man. You know what? This is just a product of the education system of America, I guess. I mean, teachers need to get paid more. You have guys that can't fucking count. Can't fucking count. Unbelievable.
The guy who went to Penn. The guy who went to Penn.
And the GM went to Harvard.
Yeah.
Oh, Derek. That one, like, genuinely, like, in the moment, I was too shocked I was like, what? Like, I didn't get angry. And then that was one of those plays after the game where it boiled. It boiled. And then you mentioned it, or no, did I mention it? Yeah, I mentioned it because of the turnover. I've never in my life wanted to actually, like, destroy a TV more than that moment. That was the moment for me. I nearly lost it.
And you know what? This is probably a good segue, because this is the only other thing that I wanted to talk about. And this is the question I'm going to ask to everybody at home, and I want to know, and I'm going to make this a separate video. So if you're watching this video, please, not doing this for baiting engagement. I'm not doing this for anything other than I genuinely want to know from Browns fans. How confident are you in the leadership of this team's future? How confident are you in Kevin Stefanski? How confident are you in Andrew Berry? How confident are you from an organizational standpoint in this team's future? And I'll answer it quickly, or I'll try to. For me, out of 10, 2. Because here's the thing. Kevin Stefanski, I have supported him. I've liked him a lot. And I'll be honest, I think he takes a huge portion of this blame for this offense. 100%. And deservedly so. But I do think there's a lot going against him. And Tristan, when I've watched the All-22, I've said it every time. Like, there's guys open. Plays just aren't being made, whatever. Obviously don't know from today. I have to go back and look at it. Which is what I'm sick and tired of hearing Kevin Stefanski say. Because at some point, you have to quit saying, we're going to go back and look at it and just change it.
That's the Hugh Jackson line. Gotta look at the tape. Gotta
Yep.
look at the tape. Like, Hugh, you've won one game in 2 years. You still have to watch tape to know what your team's problems are. Oh my God.
And this is why I bring up the question, because Tristan, we're talking about the future. I know, obviously, since this hour-long podcast, I'm done with the season. I have no expectations, no hope, nothing, none. I'm solely looking at the future of this team and how can we turn this around for next season, for the season after that, for the future of this team. This is what I will say. When it comes to Kevin Stefanski, will I be a little bit upset if he's gone? Yeah, a little bit. Because I would trust him way more with a rookie quarterback, which we should probably have. However, I can't defend him. And a big portion of it, Tristan, is just simply because his ego. I mean, he has refused to give up play calling duties to an offensive coordinator since he's been in Cleveland. And I love Stefanski in many ways, but I also hate him in many ways. And this is one of the ways that I hate Kevin Stefanski, because his failure to give up play calling, his failure to take more of a CEO approach as a head coach has cost this team so much in terms of, timeouts not being called in the right spot. Tristan, we called a timeout today after a penalty. That's Kevin. I'm sorry. That's Kevin Stefanski. That is Kevin Stefanski. And I think a big portion of a lot of people's opinion on Kevin comes from what we've seen from other Browns coaches. You see a coach do bad and you assume he's Hugh Jackson. I don't think that. I think Kevin Stefanski is a solid coach. I don't even want to say good anymore, but I think he's a solid coach who I would not feel terrible with going into the future with. However, he's got to fix his shit. He's got to fix his shit of getting in his own way, because right now it's not cutting it. And I don't think that he can manage everything at once. And I understand why he's doing it, because here's the thing, Tristan. If I'm going to be fired, I'm going to go out doing it my way. And I'm going to go out failing my way. And I think Kevin has to realize, hey, man, you're going to get fired because of Deshaun Watson. That's where we're at right now. Deshaun Watson is going to lead Kevin Stefanski into losing his job. And I don't think that's entirely fair. I don't. So I would be decently confident going into the future with Kevin Stefanski as head coach. Not elated by any means, but I would be decently confident in that. Andrew Berry. It really breaks my heart, Tristan, because I think Andrew Berry is an incredible human being. I think he's smart. I think he is I think he is a good GM, but listen, we got to stop acting like he's the greatest thing to ever happen. I mean, he's simply not. He's simply not. And we have failed. This season has been one ginormous failure from a management standpoint. This roster has been a ginormous failure, from the failure of not bringing in offensive linemen, from the failure of not having a plan at running back, to the failure of the linebacker room. I think outside of JOK has not been great. There are many, many failures as far as roster building goes, and that goes on Andrew Berry. And it's really tough, Tristan, because not having first-round picks and hitting on guys is really, really hard. And obviously there's a large group of players on this roster that we viewed were hits that have not been playing well recently. So I'm not ready to completely say they all suck, but Andrew Berry, to me, am I confident in him picking the next quarterback? Am I? I don't know the answer to that question. I really don't. I really don't. So my confidence with Andrew Berry, it's dropped a lot. And the last one that I'll throw in here real fast, Jim Schwartz. My confidence in Jim Schwartz went from a 10 to a 1. Because I don't know what the hell we're doing out here on defense. Tristan, this defense was literally one of the best in the NFL. And
it was the best.
Yeah.
It was the best. You can back it up with the numbers. It supports it.
Yeah. And it's not a fluke.
No.
It's not a fluke.
Well, and here's the other thing is, if anybody wants to debate you on it, who did the NFL vote as the assistant of the year?
Yeah. The biggest thing for me is this. We have said for years now that, hey, there's talent on this defense. You got to use them in the right way. I think we saw that last year. I don't know what we're doing. Genuinely. I don't know what we're doing defensively. We're getting ran all over. Jaden Daniels just embarrassed us. And Tristan, in a division that has Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry now, I don't know. And I'll be honest with you. We literally might have a whole new regime next year. I mean, that's a possibility.
No, absolutely. It's definitely a possibility. You're not wrong on that. What I would say is this. Personally, I would. Um, I would keep everybody. Um, Andrew Berry. Listen, the decision to get Deshaun Watson, sure, we were interested, we were intrigued, but we were out of it until somebody, who we all know, decided to fork over a huge contract. Um, so listen, absolutely, should we have some of the blame? Absolutely. Without, or should he have some of the blame? Absolutely. But considering what we haven't had for the past 3 years, he's brought in some damn good talent. And he's been doing that on a regular basis throughout his time here. Whether it's through trade, through draft, outside of like two position groups, which is D tackle and wide receiver. He's done a great job of adding talent to this roster. And you know what? Quarterbacks, if we're going to take a quarterback, we need some stability. We need stability because that's what quarterbacks grow off of. You look at the quarterbacks from the 2018 draft. Josh Allen, same head coach his entire time in Buffalo. Lamar Jackson, same head coach his entire time in Baltimore. Sam Darnold, no stability whatsoever with the Jets, goes to Minnesota, and he's looking like a good quarterback now. Looking like the quarterback a lot of people thought he would be. Baker Mayfield came in under one regime, dealt with multiple different coaching changes, still wasn't good, going to Carolina where there was no stability. Ended up in Tampa, where there's been some stability for several years now. Also, I should note, he did improve himself, for sure. Mm-hmm. And now he's being successful. So we need stability for a quarterback to thrive here. So I think that getting rid of everybody and then bringing in a quarterback, I just don't think that's the right thing. As far as Kevin goes, the only argument I'd hear about Kevin is his offense is just not modern enough. And it's clear that he's incapable of modernizing his offense.
100%.
I think that's the only argument. And if that's the case, there's only one guy who I would be looking at across the whole NFL right now that could be available as a head coach that I'd want to bring in, and that's Bobby Slowick, the Houston Texans offensive coordinator. Grew up in that Shanahan tree of coaching, was on that infamous Washington staff, the one that had Shanahan, McVay, all those guys, except he, for his pretty much his entire career, has been on the defensive side of the ball, then transferred over to the offensive side. And then in Houston, what he's been doing with Stroud has been nothing short of exceptional. So that's the only guy in the NFL right now that I look at with confidence, and I say that's somebody who I feel good about, like potentially being an upgrade over Kevin. Even like Ben Johnson, OC in Detroit, kind of scares me because he hasn't had a young quarterback to develop.
Let me ask you, just because we have a guy here on the staff
don't endorse Ken Dorsey.
No.
Okay. Thank
No.
All right. All right. I was gonna say no.
Here, Tristan, I have a vision in my head. This is why I bring this up, because I legitimately, it's gonna sound insane, but I genuinely see a world where this happens. Okay. The Browns continue to spiral into just what we saw today, right? Let's just say we get what we see today for the next, there's 12 games, let's say the next 8 games, right? Kevin Stefanski's fired. Mike Vrabel becomes the head coach of this team. Mike Vrabel And maybe it's just because like he's an Ohio guy that I know this. I know a lot about Mike Vrabel for some reason. But Mike Vrabel, the one thing that he has been known to do is get his players to rally around him, right? Even though the Titans have had bad teams, even though they might not have had the best rosters, Mike Vrabel had guys rallying around him. And there were players legitimately pissed off and furious that he got fired. And Tristan, I can see a world where the Browns, if it got that bad and they fired Stefanski, let's just say Vrabel comes in. Jameis Winston's the starter. Jameis is vocal. Vrabes is vocal. These guys rally, start winning some games. I could see a world. I really could see a world where Mike Vrabel legitimately is the next coach of the Browns. Like, I could see it.
I don't. No, I just can't. I hear you. And listen, maybe as like a DC, maybe, but like, no, he's not going to be a coach for us. I don't see that.
Might need a DC too. I mean,
yeah, no, absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I'd love to have him as a DC, especially if Schwartz isn't going to work out. But no, I think we're. Listen, when was the last time a defensive head coach won a Super Bowl? Like, it's just not the norm of the NFL. And quite frankly, you have to have a good offense, and your best chance of having a good offense is by going out and getting a head coach, somebody who has been an OC calling the shots for an offense. That's your best bet. So, again, respectfully disagree. I just don't think that that's the direction we would go down. But here's the thing, though, right? I'm not out on Kevin Stefanski. I'm nowhere close to that personally. But I do think that there's within the next 3 weeks, he's got to make one of these decisions. Okay, probably likely two of them. All right, one, a change of quarterback has to happen. The second one, you revert back to the offense that you were having last year. The under center, play action, mostly heavy run, 2 tight end sets, because that's what you do best. 100%. And number 3, hand the play calling over to Ken Dorsey, the offense, the guy who is more comfortable with this style of offense and would give us a better chance of operating it. Those are your three choices, and they got to happen within the next 3 weeks. So if that doesn't happen, if you're unwilling to change, if you're going to be that stubborn, then yeah, I'll hear that argument that he should be gone, for sure.
Yeah. My biggest thing, and my thing with Vrabel is more so from the interim standpoint, right? What happened last year with the Raiders is what I could see, but I am in agreement with you. I do believe, like, if we can get the Texans guy, I've already forgot his name, that would be, like, best case scenario. As far as, like, turning this offense around, that would be best case. But, Tristan, here's my thing, and this is why I really don't want to get rid of Kevin Stefanski. I want to see what he can do with a rookie quarterback. Kevin Stefanski inherited Baker Mayfield. Kevin Stefanski was forced into a marriage with Deshaun Watson. I want to see what a Kevin Stefanski offense would look like with the guy that he picks to be under center for this football team because of what you said earlier on in the podcast. When it's not Deshaun Watson, that's when we've seen the best out of this offense. And, if Kevin Stefanski can have success with middle-of-the-road, no-name quarterbacks, and we can somehow manage to win, what can we do with a Kevin Stefanski-led offense with a guy under center that he picks and he chooses? And, Tristan, I know it's, like, I'm going to keep pounding the table on this until he's either on another team or he's on the Browns. It's not a joke. I'm dead serious. I think Quinn Ewers is the perfect fit for Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah. No, I could see it for sure. And as far as pro ready of all of the quarterbacks in this NFL draft, I think he's probably number one, at least from what we've seen so far this year. Of course, he's kind of nursing an injury, so we'll see how he looks coming back from that. But even then, I think I'd still take that shot. The only other guy, this is in the iteration of Kevin Stefanski's offense, only other guy I think I would take a hard look at is Drew Aller, just because he's got that prototypical size, the prototypical arm strength. Like, you might be able to mold that, like similar to like what the Bills did with Josh Allen. Took him a year or so. Like, took him about 2 years to mold it, but then it's been lightning ever since. So, in this current offense that we have, I'm thinking like Jalen Milroe and possibly even Shedeur Sanders. Those in this iteration of the Browns offense, if this is the offense they're going to move forward with, Jalen Milroe 100% is your guy. If he's not there when you're going to pick, then I think that you take Shedeur and you make him a backup for a couple of years. And then, because he's got the raw talent. Again, it's about giving him stability so you can mold it. So, but I know we've talked about this before. I get your concerns with Shedeur Sanders, but
I think that's a nightmare scenario. That's just me.
I think that at this point, you know what, you got to get the talent at the position. So, and his talent, quite frankly, for me, it's undeniable. He's an extremely talented quarterback. So yeah, but it all depends. It really all depends. But they got to make some tough decisions here soon, because if we go to Philly and Philly embarrasses us, and they've been terrible this year, by the way, let me tell you that. If there was any year in recent memory to get Philadelphia, this is the time you want to play them right now. If we get embarrassed by Philadelphia, if Saquon Barkley goes crazy on us, listen, I have him on my fantasy team, so I won't be that upset. But at the same time, man.
At
listen,
what price?
Listen, the Eagles are trotting out Avonte Maddox out there. Do not let him lock up Jerry Jeudy. Do not let him do that, or I swear it'll be an even angrier episode. I'll just talk about that. Just that is all I'll talk about. So, well, that was a good therapy session, Derek. You have anything else you wanted to
add? I just want everybody to know at home, I had no interest in buying Madden this year. The Browns quite literally made me buy Madden because I wanted to know, how would I fix this team? And, I hate that we're here. And the only thing I wanted to add really fast is I completely agree with you. In the Kevin Stefanski offense, Milroe wouldn't work. But in the offense we're trying to run right now, Milroe would be perfect.
Yeah.
But I think,
like, and that's what makes me think, like, if we were going to move on from Kevin, which I don't want, right, what would I want? Bobby Slowick and Jalen Milroe? That's intriguing.
I just want a good team. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, that's the right answer, but I don't know, man. But
I'm ready to wrap this up.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us for today's therapy session. The cost of the listen today is a like and a subscription. Please click those two buttons down below. Tell us in the comments, just your thoughts on this Cleveland Browns team. What would you do if you were in charge of the Cleveland Browns right now? What would be some of the things that you would do? Because at this point, maybe you've got better ideas than the guys that are actually employed. We'll see. But
do you remember when the Browns got rid of building the Browns because they're like, we're no longer building,
and they changed it to unleashed?
Built.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everybody.
All right. Peace.